Summer is absolutely great. Let me toss up my sunglasses in celebration. Oh, they will never come down. Bonk. Oh my god. It hurt my little head. Those are the consequences of my actions.
Well, good evening, laddies, lasses and lassos, and welcome to my absolutely unhinged channel. You smell absolutely amazing today, and don't let anyone else lie to you and tell you otherwise. They would face undescribable consequences. Speaking of consequences and karma are really funny. Karma is so sweet when it happens to someone else. We can just lick it up and it's just yummy. And that is why we're looking through r/OhNoConsequences. Because there is this concept in the world of learning from someone else's mistake, and then there is the concept of just enjoying someone else's karma. But we're not evil doing it because they were stinky to begin with. Enjoy. Mwah. I feel like this entire video is just gonna be like justified pettiness. Let's rock, baby! Aw, stupid kid trying to push the puppy into the water, but the puppy is not having it. Oh my god, payback puppy! Take that, stupid kid! That's what you get for trying to push puppy. It's a good day to learn your lesson through raw consequence.
My husband has a beautiful singing voice, but one morning I was in a foul mood and he was singing. So I said, could he stop, as his singing could crack concrete. That was a month ago. He's not sang once or hummed since. I want his song back in my life.
Bruh, some people should not be in relationships. I remember my old boss, who ran a scam call center, complaining that his staff screwed him over by giving the victims their own banking details instead of his. And that he had to shut down his operation. Ooh, you hire a building full of scammers, and you end up getting scammed. Who would have thunk it, baby?
Dear friends, it comes with great sadness that I'm announcing the cancellation of the Blorp wedding. I apologize for cancelling only 4 days beforehand. Unfortunately, Blorp and I have broken up due to some recent and irreparable moments. We have decided to end our relationship and not go forth with any future proceedings. However, we are remaining civil and are still a team for our son. After hours of tears, mental exhaustion, and even disassociation, I have come to this decision. In 1 hour after posting this status, I am going to delete my Facebook. Social media has cost me only paranoia and toxicity. I will be spending these next 2 months backpacking in South America.
Wait, how is that being a team for your son? Wait, hold on. Hold on, so something happened. I guess we're gonna get the full context later on. Something happened that blew up the entire wedding and the relationship, and then she says, but I'm gonna be here for my son as a team together with my ex. And then in the very next sentence, the very next breath, she's like, by the way, I'm leaving the damn country to go backpacking. All right, this starts off great.
Exploring my soul and ridding myself of toxic energy brought on by my friends and family, the ones who I thought I could trust the most.
I mean, you know, there are definitely instances in life where multiple people can gang up on one person and be toxic, right? You know, bullying, peer pressure, you know, all this kind of jazz, right? But sometimes you have to take a step back and think about maybe you are the common denominator, you know?
Hence, I will be out of the country for all October and November. Please don't contact me. When I'm ready, I may make a new Facebook and add friends and family that haven't f***ing stabbed me in the back. How did all this come crashing down? Well, I invite you all on Facebook, players, bystanders, and side characters of the people in my life, to take a seat and listen. You're all involved somehow. Somehow everyone is wrapped into this mess. Even if you weren't invited to my wedding, I don't care. You might hear of the drama and I would rather you hear it from me. I'm not asking for sympathy. I just want to tell my story.
Yeah, I mean, you've already said that you're gonna be there for your kid, but in the next sentence saying you're dipping the country for 2 months. I mean, I think that context alone is enough for most people to be a bit skeptical. You know, when when this is you pleading your own case, I don't think you have to worry so much about other people misrepresenting it in a bad light, because all the lights are bad.
Before I begin this mini novel, I invite you, including the who have ruined my marriage and life, to put yourself in my shoes. For once, let me take the stage and let me voice the most painful few months of my life.
For once, which means I do this all the time on Facebook, I am gonna be the main character.
At first, things were a fairy tale. I met the love of my life at 14.
Jesus, this really is her entire life story in a Facebook post.
We were both young, but somehow we just knew we were meant to be. We worked on my family's farm together, and with each warm summer spent in the fields, our love grew deeper and deeper, like the little blossoming seeds in the yard and poetry and shit. Fast forward to high school. We went strong all 4 years. He put a ring on my finger when I was 18, worth nearly $5,000.
That's like an odd detail to point out. All right.
We would put everything on the line for each other. Everything. We both chose to attend the same community college and work full-time in order to build our dream. We spent most of our days by each other's sides. I will always be thankful for that. Fast forward a few years, I was 20, realized I was preggo with my first. We were elated, tearful, and thankful to God for this gift. After giving birth to Declan? Is it Declan or Declan? I don't know. Maybe this is some borderline tragedy stuff. I knew the next step would be to focus on my career and become financially stable. And my ex did the same. We saved and saved. I was in love. I was happy. I was looking forward to life. We continued working and even got our degree. It was hard, yes, but so blissfully worth it. We managed to save up nearly $15,000 for a wedding.
Burning 15 grand on a wedding when you're like in your early 20s with your first kid, trying to get financially stable? What kind of priority is that? I mean, dear God.
Since our love was like a fairy tale, we wanted an extravagant blowout wedding, one where our son could be included. We started touring venues and were torn between two. A local psychic told us to go with the more expensive option, and we thought, why the hell not?
The psychic is also a part owner in that venue. I would not be surprised. We went to a local psychic that told us to burn more money. Great.
We just needed a little push. Our dream wedding amounted to $60,000!
Okay, I thought 15K sounded like a lot. I mean, if you're doing like a destination wedding or something, 15K, I mean, certainly, sure. But 60K when you're in your early 20s trying to get financially stable with a child. Oh my, what the f***, man? Have these people never counted money before? Holy shit, dude.
All included with flights to Aruba.
It is a destination wedding. And it's 60K, oh my God.
All we asked for was a little help from our friends and family to make it happen.
Oh, dear God, is this going to be one of those where it's like, we just asked everyone to pay 10K each to come to our wedding?
I specifically asked for cash gifts. How could we have our wedding that we dreamed of without proper funding? We had sacrificed so much and only asked each guest for around $1,500.
Okay, but that's like excluding tickets and stuff, right? I'm assuming you're not buying everyone plane tickets, right? So this is $1,500 on top of like plane tickets and probably accommodation and stuff, That is so much money to go to a wedding. Bruh.
We talked to a few people who even promised us more to make our dream come true. My maid of honor, who shall not be named, pledged $5,000 along with her planning services.
Everyone is like insanely generous, man. Holy shit.
We tearfully thanked and accept. My ex's family offered to contribute $3,000, so a request for $1,500 for all other guests was nothing out of the ordinary.
But these are also like the very closest people to you, like, the maid of honor, your closest core family and stuff. If you want support with the wedding, they are certainly more expected to, I suppose, if they can and are willing to, compared to like ye everyday guests.
Like, we made it clear, if you couldn't contribute, you weren't invited to our exclusive wedding. It's a once and a lifetime party.
Oh, they're also bone apple teaing the text. That's great.
So, we sent out RSVPs and only 8 people replied and sent us the check. We were fucking livid! How was this supposed to happen without a little help from our friends? Only a few $1,000, it's not that much to ask for our special day because I am the main character. Your finances are secondary to my special day. Eat shit, Courtney. To make matters worse, my ex's family took back their offer. Suddenly more people backed out, including the maid of honor, my best friend since childhood, my second family. I was so shocked and tearful. To make matters worse, it was only a month before the wedding. To cancel everything would have been more than $5,000. Desperately, we resent our invites and asked people to donate what they could. I mean, seriously, people, what is $1,000? What is $1,500?
Couple of months of food for your kid, rent, fixing your broken down car so you can get to work, medical emergencies. I can think of a few things, that would probably take priority for a bunch of people, yeah.
Clearly, not a lot.
if it's not a lot, then why is it such a big deal to ask for it? Like, you're minimizing the thing you're asking about, but then you're also making it a big deal. You know, like which one is it? You're both claiming it's not a big deal, but you're making it. You can't have both.
It will be quite manageable and within budget. I've heard of people asking for worse. We also set up a GoFundMe that only got us
$250. I'm surprised they got anything, I'm gonna be honest. Maybe they donated to it themselves to try to get the ball rolling, but man.
At this point, we were exhausted, tired. I yelled at my ex. I became unraveled. I realized my dream wedding was becoming a nightmare. Then, it got worse.
Oh my god, it keeps going. Just drop it. Just have like a cozy, local wedding with your friends and family and loved ones and the kids and whatever. It can be fun and beautiful and stuff. You don't need to go to, what was it, Aruba or whatever. Oh my god. I swear to god, I feel some people just overhype weddings to the point they're willing to burn the rest of their life to make this one day more flashy. It's a really wild priority, and I would also think that for most people, the most important thing at a wedding is like being close to your loved ones and having like a memorable time and stuff. It's more about the people, less about the place. Like, don't get me wrong, nice food is nice and fun places are fun, but it's also who you're there with that makes it magical, right? And that's the main point. This is absolutely nuts, man.
My ex came into the room and offered to get a Vegas wedding down. How dare he try to compromise this when the magic is already ruined? I laughed in his face, but he was dead serious. He wanted those cheap, raggedy, filthy, like Vegas weddings where the peasants go to get married. I mean, what the Was he out of his mind? Am I some hooch piece of fucking trash? Hooker? Am I supposed to like the idea of getting married in the heart of shady gamblers, alcoholics, and get rich fast fallacy? Suddenly, my body began to shake as I entered a panic attack. My ex left the room and didn't apologize for his horrid suggestion.
I can see why this relationship blew up, yeah.
I then called my maid of honor and cried my eyes out. Instead of sympathy, I was told that I was asking for way too much and should stick to my budget. I mean, no words can describe. How could someone who offered me thousands of dollars then deny me my promised money and then tell me to shift down my budget?
I mean, it sounds like she was still willing to be supportive, but she kinda like pulled that support back when she realized, oh man, the wedding isn't happening. Maybe I don't want to burn $5,000 on something that isn't happening. Her offering initially is very generous, but then you made it so unreasonable for everyone that everyone else fell through. That's not really on her, fam.
She knows my fucking dream was a blowout wedding.
Also, now it's all her fault. Man, the amount of projection in this text is amazing. You could have like an entire outdoor cinema with how strong this projection is.
I just wanted to be a Kardashian for a day and then live my life like normal. I called her a filthy, fucking poor excuse of a friend and hung up. Did you also call her a filthy peasant? She then blocked me off of social media. Rumors swirled. I received anonymous threats. My ex stayed out later and later, and I have a feeling he even cheated. My bridesmaids climbed in the boat with my maid of honor and dissed me. They essentially told me I was crazy. They asked for the deposit back, so I said, you. I refuse to give it back until they can pay me back for their emotional distress.
So you blew up your life for an extravagant wedding, and you refuse to pay people their deposits back, even for something that isn't happening. You know, a deposit sort of implies that, you know, you're paying for something that is to come, right? And that thing that gets canceled, you would expect the deposits to get back to them, right? And now you're saying you're basically gonna, I don't know what, sue them for emotional distress? And you're writing all of this publicly. Oh, and you're on Facebook. You know, if rumors were really swirling, I'm starting to wonder if the rumors weren't more charitable than your own damn text. How is this your defense? Hey everyone, there are rumors swirling about me. I don't want you to believe them, because the truth is actually way worse.
My ex started to talk to my maid of honor and gossip about me behind my back. I overheard him talking in the basement when he called me a stuck-up birch. Anyway, I am exhausted. I am bone tired. My heart is not the same. It's stone cold, fragmented, empty. I needed to get away from this awful society. How hard would it have been to fucking donate, friends?
Commas are important. Now she's even asking for people to donate other people. Man, I thought we were past that point in history.
Do I matter to you? Just fucking give me money for my wedding. I won't even sugarcoat. I won't even pretend that's not what I wanted. It was for a dream. I was stabbed, cheated on, and worked. Goodbye. See you in 2 months. Friendly reminder to you. Don't think you owe me. I am cutting all of you snakes off. I'm living my life alone now until letting those I believe have good intentions. XOXO.
I have no words. You're out of your mind, Susan.
What happened to you? Who on hell expects that amount of money?
You know, a normal, well-adjusted person, even if you wanted a big wedding or whatever, would just have been like, ah darn, we can't do it right now. We either just formally get married and we host like, a wedding party later on when we're more financially stable and can afford it, and that's when we do the blowout thing, or you spend it on like a blowout honeymoon, for example, or there are many ways to like compromise this and make it fun anyway, This is unhinged. You literally blew out your entire life. You broke up with your soon-to-be husband. You're abandoning your kid because you're going backpacking because of this. You're making this unhinged long Facebook rant because you're afraid of rumors flying, and this text is arguably worse than any rumor ever could have been. And then you're like still demanding money, still calling people all kinds of names, and you burned every friendship you ever had.
Oh my god.
This must be one of the most self-inflicted consequence stories I've ever read. And it's also like doubling down over and over. It's quadrupling down, five-tupling down over and over when things aren't working out, to the point you burn everything in your life down. Oh my god, I hope the husband gets a divorce and takes the kid with him, because this cannot be a very stable environment for a child. Tourists defy ban on bathing in waterfall. Cops walk off with their clothes. The group reportedly ignored signs around the waterfall asking tourists not to enter the water during the rainy season. And then when they come out, there's just going to be no clothes, and they're going to have to be embarrassed and run to the police to get their clothes back. This is so beautiful. They have to come to you to get arrested, but they also get a nice little free walk of shame on the way. Gorgeous. r/OhNoConsequences. I regret cheating on my wife, and I can't get the image of her face out of my head. Cheating's bad, y'all. Who would have thunk it? She, F42, caught us, her sister, F30, and me, M44, last Christmas, in her dad's tool shed. And the look on her face still haunts me. Okay, so this isn't only cheating and getting caught. You cheated with her own sister at her parents' place over Christmas. Oh boy, yeah, they'll create some little speed bumps in the marriage, They'll do it. Waking me up in the middle of the night with chest pains, and I can't go back to sleep afterwards. She didn't seem surprised. She wasn't angry. She didn't yell or cry. Nothing. I ran after her, and all she said was that she expected this from her, but never from me. Oh, so the sister has like a bit of a track record with this sort of stuff. I also always wonder what people like this expect to get out of it. I don't think they actually think that far, but imagine if they're like, oh my god, we're truly so in love and all that kind of stuff. What the f*** happens next family Thanksgiving? The same husband shows up, but now he's sitting together with the other sister? Like, how would you ever make this work, man? Oh my god. We have 3 children together, 4 and 5 and 11. I love my wife. Do you though? Most people that love their wife wouldn't shag their sister in the tool shed at her dad's place over Christmas. I don't know if she loves me though. Since that day, she has never looked me straight in the face. She never talked to me about anything other than matters concerning the children, and even though she keeps a happy face around the children and family friends, and nobody has suspected anything different about us. I know it's different, and I know it's just a front, and I miss her old bubbly, cheerful self, because when we're alone and she could finally be herself, she's silent and distant. Man, I wonder why. It's almost like something happened that would have caused a rift in the relationship. I wonder what that could be. I miss being irritated that she would never shut up when we're watching TV, commenting on everything about the show and trying to beat the detectives finding out who the killer is. Now we just sit in silence at each other's end of the sofa without a glance towards each other. And even though we share the same bed, it feels like she's miles away. Ooh, I'm gonna go out on a massive limb here and say that she's already checked out and she's just biding her time for the divorce until like the kids are slightly older. You know, that's basically what's happening here. Most people don't get over cheating. And most people certainly wouldn't get over you shagging her sister at your family's tool shed over Christmas. Alright, you know, it's, yeah. The change came a month ago, like she finally started living again. I see that she's starting to put on weight again, and I catch her smiling to herself. I don't know what changed. Maybe she's seeing someone else, that'd be good for her. If she's finally forgiving me, or as I suspect, she's seeing someone else, definitely the latter. You know, she's smiling to herself. She's not smiling at you, okay? Meaning that there's something else in her life that brings her happiness. This doesn't take a detective to figure out, my dude. I can't confront her because then everything is lost. I think everything is already lost, man. Like, Jesus Christ, do what's best for the kid, cut your losses. You burned this marriage when you decided to be with her sister in your dad's tool shed. I feel so bad for the wife in the situation. Can you imagine, like, waking up to that situation? Your husband cheated on you, and not with anyone, your sister. So now you're at the point where you can't even trust your own siblings, and you cannot trust a person you had children with. It just feels like your entire core in life just blew up simultaneously. That's what makes this so incredibly bad. It's not just one or the other, you know? It's not just like, oh, it's just the family freaking out, or it's just the husband cheating. It's both at the same time. And both are in on it. Bruh, have they done this before? I wonder if this is a longer thing that's been going on, you know, but they both just kept quiet about it, and now she finally caught them. I wouldn't be surprised. My good consequences. Who would have thunk it that when you shag your wife's sister that it can blow up your marriage and life? But this is what I mean. It's like collateral consequence. Don't let your consequences affect others without consent. Douchebag move. Oh, is he gonna toss the milk thing? Because, yeah, it's TikTok, baby. Oh, he actually fell for real, though. Oh. Is this what they mean when you see titles like TikTok prank go wrong? You were supposed to fake fall, but you falled for real, accidentally, and actually bumped your head? And still posted it as well? Bruh. I mean, that is some sweet instant karma, though. I hope that every worker who ever had to clean up a mess from, like, pranking BS kids watch this and be like, yeah, that's some sweet karma. The milk aisle gods are on my side. Am I the butthole for not wanting my husband to go to his ex's funeral? Are you jealous of a dead person? Alright, I'll admit I am biased right off the bat. I couldn't stand her. I called her his ex to myself and others. He called her his friend. We're all in our early 40s. She died recently. Aneurysm. I have been with him 10 years now, but he had known her for 20 plus. The way he tells it, they were friends in college, decided to date, got married, and realized they weren't a great couple, and decided to just be friends. All of that happened years before I met him. He was clear early on that she was important. Okay, so this isn't something that happened, you know, during the relationship. It's not like an ex came back into his life in a shady way and you're worried something else is going on. This is something that they both ended amicably years before you even came into the picture. And also, he was very transparent about having this friend when you started dating. That doesn't sound like something you should be holding over his head. If you have a problem with that, then you probably shouldn't have jumped in the relationship in the first place. A couple of months into dating, it came up that his friend was actually his ex-wife. He explained the above to me, saying that she was one of his closest friends and it was purely platonic. I expressed some discomfort at him being so close to an ex, and he told me, "That's fine. If you have a serious issue with it, let me know now and save us some time. I will choose her. I like you and all, but I've known her for over 12 years and she's one of the most important people in my life. You will have to be okay with that if you want us to be a thing." That sounds perfectly reasonable, and you're also allowed to walk away from it if you're not comfortable with it. But they have made their boundaries very clear, and you can like it or not like it, but if you don't like it, then you don't have to be in that relationship with the stuff that comes with it. It really is that simple if you know that this is something that you don't like. But going into the relationship and sort of lying about it is certainly not the way to go about it, which is where I'm assuming the story is going. When we were engaged, I asked again. He gave me this perplexed look and asked, "Why would us getting married affect my friendships?" I sucked it up and went along. Oh my god, no, this is what I mean. You obviously left out the part when you said earlier that you were okay with it, because otherwise you wouldn't have reached the point where you're getting engaged, and he wouldn't have been perplexed. You're leaving that part out, but it's so glaring that you have been lying about not being comfortable with this. Oh my god, and then you try to push it out later on when the relationship is more serious. Bruh. I sucked it up and went along. I resented every moment of knowing her, especially when we had to be social. She understood some part of him I couldn't. Her husband was friends with mine as well, so it's not like I could use him as an angle. What do you mean, flirt with his friend's husband? Is that the point? To make your husband jealous of you, to play some kind of power game? Because you can't deal with the thing you agreed was already a thing when you entered the relationship. Oh my god, man. Oh my, what? That is such a red flag. He would have lunch with the ex. They would go do their geeky movies and whatever. The few times I brought it up, he said, "We had this conversation before. You had your chance to back out." She died after they had lunch the other day on the way to her car. He spent a bunch of time crying, but honestly, I was relieved. You are relieved that your husband is mourning the death of one of his closest friends? Oh my god. He was working with her husband on funeral planning. I told him, "You don't think you're going, do you?" My argument summed up. She's dead, so she's not a factor anymore. Okay, then why do you care about it? You're the one being jealous over a dead person. He doesn't get to use his "she's my friend" excuse, since she doesn't exist anymore. He had his cry for a couple of days. He gets to be done with mourning her already. A couple of days. This person he'd known for more than a decade, he's supposed to get over in 2 days. And you're relieved when he is mourning and he's not allowed to go to the funeral. Would also be more of a closure, right? If you actually wanted to get this over with, which sounds incredibly heartless in of itself. Jesus Christ, why are you so jealous over someone who passed away? There is no need for him to go to her funeral since I wouldn't want her at his. You would actually deny people to come to your husband's funeral if he passed away, people he had known like a big portion of his life, because you personally didn't like them, so they are not allowed to mourn him. Oh my god, girl, you got some issues. He was the angriest I have ever seen him when I told him that. Yeah, I wonder why. Replying that he will be going no matter how I feel, and that he's willing to burn this to the ground while holding up his wedding band. Besides you, she was the closest friend in my life. Him, her husband, and my sisters are calling me an insensitive butt over this, all saying there was no romantic aspect to their relationship and that I am heartless. Her husband went so far as calling me a ghoul for how I have reacted. I never felt the relationship was appropriate, and I hid that for years because I wanted to be with my husband. But that is exactly the problem. You are allowed, in a vacuum, to feel uncomfortable about this stuff, right? But the problem is that you lied about being comfortable with it, right? You lied when you first started dating and said you were comfortable with it, and then you tried to push her out when the relationship was more serious and your soon-to-be husband had more to lose, or the relationship was more difficult to cut off. So you were actively lying about it, and then you're holding it over your husband's head in his moment of grief. That makes you an absolutely terrible person. Now that she's gone, I don't feel I should have to hide it anymore, and can speak freely. Oh yeah, sure, like I've been lying to my husband for many years, and now I'm being a piece of to him in his moment of weakness and grief when I should be there for him like his loving wife. I'm sure that will fly well. Am I the butt for just wanting him to be done with her, and for him to not attend the funeral? How does this have 20,000 upvotes? Oh my god, I guess it's upvoted because it's a fascinating story, but it's definitely a butthole story. Wait, there is more! There is an actual update to it! Am I the butthole for not wanting my husband to go to his ex's funeral plus updates? Oh my god, it keeps going. No, don't double down. Don't double down. Okay, here we go. OOP is deemed the butt and is considered heartless by all. But here comes the update, like a while later. We have been together for 10 years, but he's choosing to end all of that because of how I reacted to his ex-wife's death. I mean, you also said that you would deny other people going to his funeral if you personally didn't like them, so you can pick and choose who gets to mourn his passing. That along with like, oh my god, you've already been sad for 2 days that one of your besties died. Move on already and be a man or whatever. You're just a hyper-toxic partner. Jesus Christ. And also, jealousy usually isn't very attractive, right? But like being jealous of dead people takes it to a completely different level, man. Oh my god. They were friends when we met, and his claim was that they had dated and got married while they were young and dumb, before realizing they worked better as friends than as a couple. He told me that if I wanted a relationship with him, I needed to accept that she had always been a part of his life. He would do things like go on geek movies with her and sometimes her husband. They would do their tabletop gaming, all of which I found boring. I mean, that's perfectly fine though. That sounds like a good excuse to like do something you enjoy more, right? Oh, your partner wants to go and do something that you don't enjoy doing? Well, lucky you. He has someone else he can do it with. Now you can go and pick up another friend that you want to do something fun with, that you want to do. You know, this is just good dynamics in general. He's not forcing you to come with him to something that you don't like. But it's still something negative. He and I had a mostly happy marriage, I thought. But I had to deal with her presence and pretending she and her husband were friends. I hated her. And when she died, I was relieved. I didn't want him going to her funeral, saying now that she was out of his life, he was done with her. I was called cold and callous for wanting to put my foot down. It's a very odd thing to put your foot down. My boundary is that you're not allowed to grieve your besties that die. It's not really a boundary. That's just controlling and weird and jealousy over like dead people. What? Yes, he went to the funeral, which I was very uncomfortable with. I asked him not to go again, and he just gave me this cold, expressionless stare. She was cremated, and my husband was given a little bit of her ashes in a small urn the size of a pill bottle. I told him it was creepy to have them, and he flipped me the bird. This relationship is so over, man. The past month plus, all of my life has been a nightmare because of her dying. So it's still her fault. Like, now your problems in life are because of a dead person, not to mention the jealousy over a dead person. Now all of your problems are not self-inflicted because of the horrible things you told your husband, or, you know, you simply let off the lid that I have been lying to you for the last few years when we've been together, and now it's all coming out and I'm acting horribly in your time of grief. It's not because of that. It's still her fault, even though she's like dead. My husband has barely talked to me, and I have received texts from nearly all our friends and family calling me a monster. All because someone saw my original post on Reddit and shared it with everyone they could. So they have all seen the post as well? Even people at my job? Many of the posts here were nice in comparison to the things the people I thought were my friends said. Okay, but you see, this is the weird thing you have backwards about relationship and friendships. I don't expect my friends to back me up if I am like going completely off the rails, right? That's not what a friend does. A real friend checks you when you are derailing. That's part of being a friendship, you know, pushing your friends in the right direction or like calling them out when they're doing something insanely unhinged like this. You know, if your friends were supporting you in this, oh my god, I wouldn't call them friends because first off, they're endorsing really horrible behavior, and secondly, they're pushing you down a path, which you seem perfectly fine pushing down on your own, mind you, but still, they would be pushing you down a path that is incredibly destructive to any kind of meaningful relationships in your life, right? And also it puts you in a really toxic mindset where you're gonna alienate every single person around you because like you're blaming your problems and being jealous over like dead people and saying that people are not allowed to grieve and etc, etc. Like, you see where I'm going with this? You know? Friends would call you out in these kind of instances. I was just out of town for several days on a work trip. On Friday, I came home to a partially empty house, his car gone, and a petty-sounding letter saying that we would be getting a divorce. Not that he wanted one, that it was going to happen, and he had already filed. He said that my post was one of the most hurtful things he has ever read, and that my jealousy of his friendship was insane. He wrote, I f***ing watched her die. She was walking by my side when it happened. I have nightmares about it. He said I would be keeping the house because I don't want to spend every morning waking up to a reminder of the years of lies that was our marriage. He left a list of what he's taking, saying I can keep the rest. His last line was, if it had been me instead of her, she would have been there for you in an instant. Remember that. I learned he's staying with her husband because that man sent me a long text telling me to stay away from his home and he regretted ever letting me into his life. I mean, that's good. So they can just vibe together and do bro stuff and mourn and actually be genuinely supportive of each other in their grief instead of dealing with this person. That seems like a pretty good solution for now. My own sister said if she learned I was dating someone, she would fill him in on what a black-hearted C-word I am. So yeah, my husband is divorcing me because of his first wife's death. Is that seriously what you believe? After like telling us all the context in this story, you still want us to believe that, oh, your husband is divorcing you because his ex died. That's what you want to go with? That's like leaving out 99.9% of the context. She is more important to him, and it seems our friends than keeping our marriage together is. She's screwing up my life even from the grave. She's screwing up my life even from the grave. Girl! Girl! You know, I just had this, like, really weird thought about the story, that the person who's writing this, if the whole thing is real, of course, you always have to take it with a bit of grain of salt on the good old Reddits, but if this story is real, I was gonna say people better be careful, because a person like this can easily snap and, you know, sit and stew in their own bitterness and hatred and lash out and do something very dangerous or violent, right? But all of her anger and hatred is directed towards someone that she cannot hurt. You know, so I hope everyone else in this story is safe, at least, because this is tragic enough as it is. My god, I'm so fascinated that this person actually wrote out this kind of stuff and then ended it with a sentence like, my husband is divorcing me because of his ex. Girl, are you for real? How can someone write something like this, and like in such great detail, and still be so unaware of their own shittiness? This is fascinating. This should be a documentary, man. I hope the others in the story are able to grieve in peace from now on, because they deserve it. Oh my god. Okay, we got some lady driving. That's supposed to be a GPS holder, not a texting holder. This is gonna end exactly how I think. Yeah, there we go. Just ram straight into like a parked car or something. That's great.
No.
Yep, that's what happens. Don't text and drive, kids. This is an amazing, like, informational video. You see? Consequences will happen to everyone. And of course, the very obvious reason why you don't do this is that it can be consequences for more people than just yourself. I mean, in this instance, I'm assuming that she will have to pay for all the damages and stuff, and it doesn't seem like no one else was actually hurt in this video. She just smashed into, like, a parked car or something. But when you text and drive, you can actually hurt other people as well, who didn't do the stupid thing that you're doing, so they didn't deserve your consequences, and that makes you a double butthole, because you're extending your consequence onto other people who didn't consent to paying your consequences. Am I the butt for not helping my parents since I'm not legally required to do so? My parents saved money for myself and my siblings to go to college. My two older siblings used the money, went to the local college, and have started families. They had to work part-time jobs to pay for social activities and such. I am the youngest, and I got a full ride scholarship to a great school. I asked my parents if I could use the money for other stuff than education-related expenses. They sat me down and explained that the money was only for my education, and since I didn't need it, they weren't legally obligated to give it to me. Okay, so you're basically punishing your kid for managing to nail down a scholarship. That doesn't sound like smart parenting to me. They said that it wouldn't be fair since my brother and sister had to work during school if I got money for goofing around. I tried to explain that I had studied much harder than they had and that my education wasn't costing them 1 cent, not even a room and board. They wouldn't budge. They used the money to take the family, including me, or so they thought, to Disney World and to renovate their home. I told them I wouldn't be joining them on that vacation. I left home when I graduated from high school. My uncle got me a job as a welder's helper for the summer. I gave up my summer, but made enough that I wouldn't have to work during the school year. All the guys I was working with thought I was nuts to give up pipeline money to go to university. The welder I was working with actually gave me $2,000 as a gift at the end of the summer. He said he gave me the job as a favor for my uncle and that he thought I would quit in a few days. He was impressed that I had worked my butt off for the whole summer. I did this for the next 2 summers as well. I had a great time in school with my friends and professors, and then in the summers with a bunch of hardcore blue-collar guys that were earning more than most people. I didn't cut my family off or go no contact or anything. I just didn't have a lot of free time. When I was in school, I was busy keeping my marks up, and in the summer, I was working. I really only saw my parents at Christmas, and one year I went to my girlfriend's parents' home for Christmas. I got a co-op job the summer before my 4th year. It led to a job after contingent on me graduating. I did. I then went to work in some really cool places. I have been from the high Arctic to Africa, Australia, and South America. I don't have a wife or kids. My current lifestyle isn't really conducive to a great relationship. I work and travel. I have been at it for 10 years now. I'm making more than the pipeline welders for a much cleaner job that utilizes my brain. I still miss the camaraderie of hanging out with the boys, but those 3 summers gave me great grounding for how guys in the field think, and that has helped my career. The last time I talked to my parents, they asked if I could help them out since they want to retire early and they know I'm doing well. Oh man, the irony. Oh my god. We're not gonna help you when you go to college because we know you're doing well. Hey, can you help us? I mean, we're doing well, but we kind of want to retire early. Is the consequence in the story him just telling them, like, I'm not paying you to goof around, go to work? Is that gonna be the sweet ending? I also want to retire early, so I don't really want to give away my nest egg. I asked them how much my brother and sister were giving them. They said that they had families and couldn't really afford to help. I said that it wouldn't be fair for me to give them money since neither of my siblings were, and that since I wasn't legally obligated to do so, I wouldn't be doing it. They are upset with me for being stingy and holding a grudge. I don't think I am. I didn't ask them for a penny after I left home. I didn't ask them to pay for my travel when I came home at Christmas. Nothing. I have been paying for my own life since I was 18. I need to add that they aren't working at back-breaking jobs or anything. They are teachers. My brother is a teacher and my sister is a social worker. I'm an engineer. Am I the butt for not helping my parents since I'm not legally required to do so? I mean, it sounds to me that you're just playing by the rules of the relationship standards that they set for you. Right? If they weren't willing to help you when you were going to college and stuff because, the money wasn't used for the bare necessities, retiring early when you're working pretty comfortable jobs are certainly not a bare necessity either. So that just seems like karma coming back to bite them, honestly.
Assistant Public Defender Natalie Tate for Mr. Harris, who should be present in Zoom.
Oh, he's just calling into court from the
Mr.
car?
Harris, are you driving?
Actually, I'm pulling into my doctor's office, actually. So
that's a yes
just
to
give me
driving.
1 second.
Okay.
I'm parking right now.
It's funny how he didn't just call in like 30 seconds later, just pull over and then call in, but alright, whatever. I guess it's not a big deal.
I'm pulling in right now at this second. Yes, I am.
All right. What are we doing?
Your Honor, we are respectfully requesting an adjournment in this matter, up possibly 2 to 4 weeks if the court would allow.
Okay. So maybe I don't understand something. This is a driving while license suspended,
That is correct, Your Honor.
and he was just driving, and
There is no way.
he didn't have a license.
There is no fucking way.
Oh,
That is with the charges, Your Honor, yes.
Oh my god.
No, I'm looking at his
Yes.
record. He doesn't have a license.
Oh my fucking god, no.
He's suspended and he's just driving.
That is correct.
Oh. Did you call into your own court hearing about your suspended license while driving?
oh.
Oh. Didn't he know what it was about? This is like the worst thing I've ever seen. Man, the defending lawyer must feel great about this one. This is when you're just like,
1 minute, Mr. Harris.
I don't even know how to defend this man. Like, what?
I don't even know why he would do that. So defendant's bond is revoked in this matter. Defendant is to turn himself into the Washington County Jail by 6 p.m. today. Failure to turn himself in will result in a bench warrant with no bond.
Bruh.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Harris, I'll be giving you a call.
Okay.
The lawyer isn't even trying to argue that. How the fuck am I supposed to argue this innocence? If you're like the prosecutor in this case, you're like, oh, guess I got lunch early. I didn't even have to take the stand once. I'm so surprised. Didn't the dude know what he was going to court for? Oh, that's unbelievable, man. How can I, 38F, get my husband, 40M, to parent my kid again after I stopped his punishment? New account specifically for this problem I'm having with my husband. Let me first say my oldest son is in his last year of high school and is not the bio son of my husband. My husband and I have been married for 14 years now and have 2 other beautiful kids together. My oldest son's father is not in the picture, so my husband is the dad in all respects to my son. All the above said just to clarify our dynamics. I do love him a lot as he care for me and cares for all the kids the same. I have never seen any favoritism of any kind towards another. 2 weeks ago, while me and my husband was on our way home on the highway, a car came speeding past us. My husband asked me if that was our son, because it's the exact same car as we bought him. My husband sped up and caught up to the car. I think we were doing 95 when we caught up. Don't quote me on speed, please. I really only remember my husband saying, "Why the f*** is he driving 90? I digress. It was our son driving, and he was on his phone while speeding through traffic. Yeah, that seems like the kind of thing you should take his car away for, not only for his own safety and sake, but also because he can really hurt or even kill other people by being so reckless. Come on, texting and speeding? The only thing that could make it worse is if he was like drinking at the same time. I think he was texting because we could clearly see him having both hands busy with his phone from the opposite lane. I wanted my husband to honk at him, but he said no, that might just cause issues and catch him off guard and cause an accident. When we got home, we parked behind our son. My husband walked into the living room and just held out his hand and said, "Give me the keys." My son asked why, and my husband raised his voice saying, "Give me the keys." When my son took the keys out of his pocket, my husband grabbed them and told him, "You are no longer allowed to drive that car," and he left the room. He looked at me and asked what's going on, and I told him we saw him on the highway, and his eyes got all big, and he struggled to say anything. About an hour later, I heard my husband yell from the kitchen, "I don't give a frick about your job or school, you can walk, take the bike or the bus. I don't care, you will not be driving that car again." I mean, yeah, figuring out alternative transportation seems like a pretty suitable punishment for putting people in traffic in lethal danger. That certainly seems like the least you can do. Apparently my son went to him and apologized and asked for the keys back because he needed to get to work. My son came to me a week ago and asked for the keys because he needed to get to work and it was raining. He apologized to me again and said it won't happen again. I relented and gave him the keys and he went off to work. Without communicating with the husband, I guess? Oh my god. You know, if anyone else had caught your son doing this, he would have legal issues with the police. That's the thing. This is super duper serious. And you're just not taking it serious in the least. My husband came home and without saying hello just asked where the car was. I told him that I gave the keys back to our son so he can get to work. He used the same line on me saying, "I told him and you heard me that he isn't allowed to drive anymore and he could have taken the bike, bus or walked." I told him it was raining so I gave him the keys. I told him that he apologized and said it would never happen again. My husband cut me off and said that apologizing won't stop an accident, or bring him back from the dead, or bring other people back from the dead. He hasn't learned a thing. I told him I paid for half the car and it was a gift from us to my son, and I also have a say in what happens to it. You know, one rule of thumb I've seen parents talk about is that it's perfectly fine to talk to each other about like how you deal out punishment and, you know, how you should raise your kid, that sort of stuff. But what you don't do is question the authority of the other parent in front of the kid. Right? That's not what you do, like united front and all that kind of stuff. And also, of course, in this instance, I just think the wife is like completely in the wrong, you know? I don't think the parents would be overreacting by just fucking selling the car, you know? If someone is driving like that, they shouldn't be behind the wheels of a vehicle. I don't care how things work in your household, but I would not be willing to risk someone else in traffic potentially dying or getting handicapped for life simply because your son is a piece of shit in traffic. Okay? That isn't the world's problem. Get a grip. He looked at me and said, "Okay, fine. All parental decision will now fall to you. You are the authority on that, so everything is now in your head." Since then, my husband hasn't done a single thing for my son or any of the other kids regarding discipline. When they ask for something, he's just said, "Go ask your mother." Our kids are having free reign around him. There's a lot of grammatical issues in this text, man. And he just steps over every mess they make. And when asked him why he didn't stop our younger from writing in the walls, he just shrugged and walked off. I tried to talk to him, and he said, "You got what you asked for. No matter what I do, you seem to be the authority on any decision on our kids, so I just remove the middleman and you can deal with them," and he walked off. Also, I saw a comment under this post that said like this seemed to have been a reoccurring thing based on other posts and comments made by OP. So this seems to have been something that was building up over time about this kind of like parenting, and this was just the last drop. A pretty big drop, but still a last drop. What do I do? How can I get him to help parent our kids again? I'm at the end of my rope and the kids aren't really listening to me like they do to him, but he's just allowing them to do what they want. Edit messed up the title. I'm exhausted and can't handle everything alone anymore. Sorry if my post is all over the place, I just need advice. If question needs to be asked, I will answer in the comments. Title meant to say, our kids. I mean, stuff like this is kind of tricky to fix in retrospect because the trust has already been kind of broken, and I think you're vastly underestimating the seriousness of the car situation. It's not just about your son breaking a little silly rule or something like that, or not apologizing hard enough for an oopsie daisy. This is really serious stuff that can kill him or other people. It's really serious, and you're just brushing it off. I don't really know how you would fix this, to be honest. I mean, maybe take the car away is a good first step. I don't know, because I still wouldn't trust this kid out in traffic when he was that reckless to begin with. Some people just shouldn't be drivers. I don't know more about this kind of situation, but like irresponsible drivers, I think most people aren't too excited about that in general. So I don't know, maybe that's a first step. Otherwise, good luck. This seems to have been a trust issue that's been growing for a while, and it's kind of difficult to fix once it hits that sort of point. We got like a little bit of a police chase. The sirens are on. The car is not slowing down. Ooh, this is very dramatic. What is gonna happen next? Is he gonna do like the little pushy butt of the car? The little side stroke? Oh, we got the side stroke. Wait, that's also a police car. He has sirens. Or he just turned them on. These are just police chasing police. Wait. Okay, wait. Let me turn this back and play it really slow. So you see, when he pushes the car around, right? The sirens are actually off, and then you see the dude's hand reaching in and turning on the sirens. So the cop in the civil police car didn't actually have his sirens on. As far as I can tell, I cannot see them in the chasing part of the video, and he actually turns them on by his windshield when he gets, well, pulled over. Lack of a better word. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, I didn't see your light. Well, to be fair to the other cop, the lights didn't seem to be on, but this is so funny. Just cops chasing cops. Tax dollars well spent, baby. I guess those are the consequences in this case. If you're driving a civil police car and you don't turn your siren on, and then you get arrested yourself.
Feeling betrayed. I'm livid. Blorp has been babysitting for me for 7 months now.
$100 a week. Oh my god.
The hours are easy. 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. like a regular freaking job, but like, a fifth of the pay. And the kids are basically little angels. They sleep most of the day anyway at this age.
Okay, kids, plural. Hours like a regular job, but you pay like a fifth of another minimum wage job or whatever. Great.
I get a text from her saying she's applying to Walmart and that she can't afford to work for me anymore. She's not paying me anything. I'm paying her. What do you mean afford?
What that means, which I'm not sure if you're just dense enough to not get this or playing stupid because you're upset, but that means that she can't afford to live on the money you pay her, because the hours to get that money takes up hours that she would get another job for. Rent and food isn't cheap. It means that she's gonna literally starve or be homeless if she keeps doing this instead of another job. Okay? That's what it means. Ooh.
Have fun working longer hours for less pay, you ungrateful birch.
What do you mean, longer hours for less pay? You've already put the pay in the text, and everyone knows this pays way less than a minimum wage regular job. And you have also already called it regular work hours. So you've already contradicted this earlier in the text. Facebook posts seem to have this very fascinating phenomena of a very high density of contradiction per unit of text.
And I'm stuck without childcare. All the daycares in my area are super expensive, and every time I have posted an ad on a local buy or sell, people have left really mean comments. I am getting desperate. I can't believe she put me in this spot. This is risking my livelihood. I thought she was my friend. My friend should starve and be homeless for my child, the child I chose to get and raise. If my friends don't choose to sacrifice their well-being and literally starve themselves because I don't pay them to do it, then they're not real friends.
Ooh, I want to do a social experiment when we get one of this lady's friends to reach out to her about babysitting their kids for $100 a week, 9 to 5, and see how she reacts. And then they can act all entitled and be like, oh my god, I'm losing my livelihood because you won't babysit. I wonder how she would react to that. Probably poorly, because people like this are always hypocrites, which is very funny. Am I the butt for telling my parents they became liars the second they started fostering their adopted daughter? My parents started fostering when I, 19F, was 6. My younger brother was 3 at the time. I never had a problem with it. It was normal, and I got along with a lot of the foster siblings who came to live with us. This then changed with Amy. I met Amy in 2nd grade. 2nd grade, so if it's the same as in Sweden, that means they're about 8 years old-ish. She was new to my class, and we just did not get along. I remember other kids saying she was mad at me, and I had no idea why. We only knew each other for a few days at that point. I remember thinking that if she was mad at me for nothing, then I was gonna be mad at her. We clashed a lot. Then in 3rd grade, she started bullying me. She would throw my lunch on the floor and step on it. She would make up lies about me farting to get other kids to make fun of me. She told the teacher she wouldn't sit or work with freaky eye. I have a scar across my left eye. She would also say I was evil like Scar from The Lion King. The scar gave her plenty of ammunition, and eventually I became very self-conscious about this. My parents knew about the bullying, and they were called in to speak to teachers and the principal over the bullying. Turns out Amy was a foster kid. Guess who decided to take her in? My parents. We were 10. My parents decided to adopt her. My parents were asked how I felt about it by a lot of people. They lied and said I was good with it and I was excited to help Amy get along with her better. It was a lie. I screamed the house down when I found out and begged my parents not to. My brother didn't like Amy either. She had used him against me so many times at school and he knew about it. My parents blamed me for my brother and Amy not getting closer. When I was 15, we had this really big fight. My parents told me Amy was as much my sibling as my brother was, and they weren't happy that I didn't acknowledge her as such. I told them I never would, that they could adopt her 100 times over and I still wouldn't call her my sister. I told them they chose helping her over protecting me. I told them I wish she had stayed in foster care forever and that nobody have ever loved her because she was a bully, and I was tired of being her target. I mean, kids being subjugated to this kind of stuff will definitely lash out and say bad stuff themselves. That's kind of understandable. And it's also understandable to want to help kids that are in foster care and that kind of stuff. But very, very specifically going out of your way to adopt your kid's bully is really weird. Really weird from the parents. Like, you're just showing your kid that this other kid matters more. It's like, oh my god, we're so charitable and stuff because they're taking in this foster kid that just terrorizes your kid that already lives there. That doesn't make it good. If you wanted to make the situation as good as possible for everyone, you would try to find a different solution with different parents for Amy specifically. That would be like the more responsible thing to do. Because I think in situations like this, it's important to acknowledge that multiple things can be true at the same time. Amy might be lashing out and might be exhibiting bully behaviors because she had a shitty time growing up. And because she had bad experiences or being tossed around between families, this is how she's acting out with her frustrations. But you can also think that the parents' main responsibility should be protecting the child that they have already chosen to have. You know, both of these things can be true at the same time. And if I was in the parents' shoes, I would opt into trying to get another good family that Amy fits better with, or a family that doesn't have kids of their own already to take Amy in instead. Like, you don't have to choose one or the other. Both of these things can be true at the same time, but sacrificing the safety and well-being of your own first child is a weird priority to make. I told them she had won though. She had them and I would never see them the same way again. A year later, Amy and I go into a fight where I was allowed to go and live with my grandparents. My parents tried to keep in touch with me, but I made no effort. And eventually, I started telling people my parents had lied about me wanting them to foster and adopt Amy. People treat my parents differently as a result, and they confronted me about this 3 weeks ago. They showed up at my grandparents and said we needed to talk. It's also odd that the parents wouldn't do anything about it. I mean, even if you wanted to go to the extent that you adopted Amy into the family, why wouldn't you make sure that you were at least strict on the bullying? Like, hey, in this household we don't allow this sort of behavior, and you put a stop to it. If you still want to adopt them, the very least you can do to still be there for your first kid and also be there for Amy like you wanted to, then you at least stop the bullying. That's like the minimum. If you cannot do that, then you have abandoned your own child. They mentioned me calling them liars, and I said they were, and they became liars the second they started fostering Amy. My parents told me I had such a selfish outlook on the situation. I told them they chose Amy, so I didn't owe them or her a selfless outlook. I mean, yeah, they were also selfish in that extent. No one else was selfless towards the daughter. Why would she be? Am I the butt for telling my parents they became liars the second they started fostering their adopted daughter? I remember I read a similar story a while ago, but it was the mother in the family that became like a mentor to the kid's bully in school. It was something like that. It was like a mentor program, but a very similar thing. And it ended with the mother dropping the bully and finding them another parent to mentor them at the end of the day. But the relationship with the kid was already pretty damaged. So this is a story I've seen repeated a few times where parents feel a responsibility towards other kids or want to do something charitable, which in of itself is a very good thing to do. And it's important to acknowledge that, you know, this kid, for example, might exhibit these behaviors because they had a bad time in their own childhood. childhood. But that doesn't justify the parents defending the bully over their own kid. Of course the kid is gonna cut contact. So all of a sudden, they don't only have the bully at school, now they have the entire household against them, and their own parents endorsing the bully. Like, I think anyone would check out of that kind of situation. That sounds absolutely awful.
I hate my apartment complex. They just stole my car. I was parked in a handicapped spot, which I park in there all the time. I'm over it. $155.
Oh, you only have one parking ticket so far? That sounds really lucky. Maybe you should have stopped while you were ahead or something, or I don't know, don't park in the handicap spot to begin with. It's almost like there is consequences for your poopy little actions. Ah, that was a big sweet dose of karma. I do hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed having you here, you wonderful, beautiful beings, and I will see you again in the very near future. Take care. Mwah.